Hey there, Lunacy community. I just wanted to take a second to do an introduction for this episode. This is me talking to my dear brother Bearheart, and it's a really potent conversation that we are having. So I just want to set the stage. There's an urgency here that I'm sure you'll pick up on. An urgency around how incredibly important it is for each of us to step into our true power and embrace true freedom by accepting total responsibility for our lives in order to create together the world in which we want to live. This is the mission as far as I am concerned. It is a love-based mission. It is unfathomably vital. And it starts with each of us embracing our own journey, who we are as individuals, embracing our true power as kings and queens in this world, as people who are authors of our own destiny, as people who are contributing to the destiny of all those who will follow in our footsteps, knowingly. So I really invite you to listen to it with those ears. And I invite you to open your hearts to the true power that you have and that we have together as free people, truly free people. Here is Bearheart on Brotherhood, Part 1. I am Jeff Ado. This is Lunacy, where we discern the sacred from the insane and admit that whether we like it or not, we are all profoundly affected by the cycles of the moon. That was good howl. That was really good howl. Don't tell my other guests. That might be the best howl. All right? Bad. There you go. Nice. My guest today is my dear friend and brother, Bearheart. He is a leader of men's work. He is a really exceptional human being. He's a really dear friend of mine. I know him from Primal Presence. He led the Primal Presence experience, which if you're a fan of this show, episodes 42 and 43 from last year are about that experience before and after. It was really an exceptional experience for me. We fasted for 4 days. We spent a lot of time down by the river. We communed as men around a fire. It was a really beautiful, empowering experience for me. And a lot of that was spending time with Bearheart. So I'm really, really excited to have you on the program today, brother. Thank you for joining me, us. Much love to you. Welcome to Lunacy.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I'm here, brother. Appreciate it very much.
Yeah. So, we were talking before we started here. A lot of the reason that I wanted to have you on the show is that I first of all, I feel the power of brotherhood in my own life. I've been super lucky to have a lot of really good brothers throughout time. High school, like I have a group of friends that I still keep in touch with on the regular. College was in a really great fraternity that was about, serving others and protecting women, and very unique in that way. And then, here I've done Sacred Sons with you and some other men's work. And I just and I have very good friends that are brothers of mine that I feel are brothers, and also sisters of mine that I feel are sisters that I support in the same way. And you're somebody in my estimation who really not only delivers that, but has gotten so much out of it himself. And so I really kind of want to start with, asking you, what's the power of brotherhood for you, Bearheart?
The power of brotherhood. Not just for me, but historically, the power of brotherhood has taken strong, able-bodied men away from their families and the warmth in the bed of their beloveds and children's to go off with other men for mission, most of the time never coming home. So the power of brotherhood is immense. What we're capable of when we come together, and what I know as brotherhood is going through initiations with each other, understanding how and when we can trust each other. We truly only know the real about somebody when you know all about them what makes them tick, how they view this experience, what their traumas have been, what they're working through. In Brotherhood, we get to dissect all of that and support each other in many different ways with many different tools, ancient and new. And what I've known just through collecting data alone from thousands of men in all different kinds of brotherhood, the power of brotherhood, it's not something that can really be spoken, but it's definitely something that is felt viscerally. And when you get to feel it, you know why we left the warmth and of our families to go off and be with other men in really trying times within history.
Mm-hmm.
It's one of the most beautiful things you can ever imagine. And there's also lots and lots of pain that's involved in brotherhood as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely.
That's my answer.
That's good.
Hey.
I like it. Yeah, so you mentioned, initiatory experiences with other men, and, obviously, we're in a time now where it's less important to go out and hunt and, fight battles, literal battles, actual battles with other men. We live in a pretty protected environment, at least in this culture, in this country, presently. But to me, there's something very lacking in our society about those experiences, like having initiatory experiences where we're acknowledging, hey, you're moving into a different realm of your life as a man. You're going from being a boy to being a man, and then on and on. You're getting married. You're having a family. You're starting a family. What does that mean for you? There's a big lack of that. Commonly in our culture, that's not something that's, we have rights for outside of the bar mitzvah, bat mitzvah experience in the Jewish faith and, some other particularly cultural things to different people. Is that something that you feel, obviously you kind of in part make that your life's work. What do you think the power is of creating those experiences for men in our modern day age?
Well, my life's work is to be a brother of the world, to be a man of prayer and a man that will choose love when it feels like the hardest choice. How I express that comes in many different ways, one being which of what we're talking about within men and creating experiences and co-creating with men when they're in transition times in life. And I want to touch back on what you had said just a quick little bit ago of how it's a time where we're more protected and more safe, and so we don't need to be hunting and so on. And I think that what feels true to me is that it's even more important that we know how to hunt,
mm-hmm.
but not necessarily for what people are thinking of. It's not just to hunt the animal for sustenance, or it's to be able to hunt what's happening inside of ourselves, to be able to pinpoint where there's out of alignment, and when we can see that within an ecosystem and start working on that within ourselves, it will be ever clear of what's happening within our societies. And in that, if we are true hunters, and if we are ones that are coming back to the earth and seeing things from different perspectives and opening our awareness to levels where we are much more sensitive, and I think it is ever more important to be able to have all of these skills intact, so that way we know where injustice is happening in the world and where we have numbers and strength and a lot of healing work that's been done to be able to meet that in the most effective and efficient and best way for all. And so I feel as though, due to people living stagnant lives and living lives in ways that are their own life, it's their own lessons. But I don't necessarily see the world as a place where none of that is important. I think it's very, very, very important.
Mm-hmm.
And that we just see it from a different perspective. just like when we're doing the work and when we're going in and internal of the reasons why the patterns have happened and the traumas have happened, and coming to different understandings and seeing things from different perspectives. That's a way that we can utilize the tools to then continue to help the ripple outward. And then once there's much more of a being able to feel of self, being able to show up, yes, for our brothers, but also for our sisters, and also for the children, and also for the elders, and also for the warriors and veterans, and also for the ones that have been put in prison, and also for the animals. But it starts here.
Mm-hmm.
And so initiations and being able to meet our edges in life, I have felt have been very, very special and very important. And it seems as though that other people agree.
Yeah.
So
definitely me.
Well, it's special. It's what we know as, and even the list that you listed off, it's like, okay, we go to school and then we have a family and we try to have a good job and potentially retirement. Those aren't initiations.
No.
Sleeping with somebody is not an initiation.
No.
It's so much more sacred than that. And getting into a little schoolyard bully, that's not an appropriate initiation. There's ways to initiate in really very, very healthy ways where that can all be medicine instead of traumas in life. Mm-hmm. And they can be connecting points where the youth, from child to youth, from youth to young adult, from young adult to adult, right onto elderhood, so on and so forth. All of these stages and periods deserve initiation. Mm-hmm. They deserve the opportunity for recognition, mm-hmm. for being seen, for being honored, also for being called in if the actions have been, if there's been any type of lack of integrity or confusion, right? There's opportunities where something is being called much more of ourselves, and we can only do so much alone as like a lone wolf. Mm-hmm. We can do so much more for the whole when the community is there to support us. And not only to call us in when things are not fully aligned, but also to really congratulate us when those aligned actions have been carried out for so long. And then you get to see through the reflections of everything, the beauty and the blessings that come from it. Mm-hmm. So proper initiations and with those that are initiated. And so that way they know they can really see whatever process is coming forward it's an art.
Yeah.
It's a definite art within this tapestry that we're weaving.
Yeah.
At least that's the way that I see it.
Yeah. Well, that makes sense. Having been through some of your initiatory experiences that you have facilitated, it definitely feels that way, where it's an organic process that's really like up to the individual men, but also like, acknowledging where, for ourselves, where our faults lie, for ourselves, what the problem is, and then declaring those, letting those go in like a sacred way. It's I'm thinking about it right now. I'm getting very moved,
They're offerings.
Yeah.
It's a sacred offering to be able to meet ourselves and to be fully in mm-hmm. where the stretch is coming.
Yeah. Exactly. And also, one of the things that I wanted to talk to you, of course, it came up almost immediately, which I didn't mention to you, is my truth. And I think the truth, if I might be so bold, that we are the only ones, I am the only one that can fully heal myself. I am the only one that can really deliver the healing that I need. Whether it's a wounding from my mom who was aloof or didn't pay attention to me, or my dad who I felt like was abandoned, I'm just I'm not being specific here, but like those kind of wounds, or like maybe there was some kind of abuse, whatever it was, like the only person that can fully heal that is me. I am the only one that can give me the love that I need in order to totally heal myself and be of service and integrity to other people and the whole. And that's not the culture that we live in. We live in a prescriptive culture that you go to the doctor, they tell you what pill to take, what sacred plant medicine that some pharmaceutical companies spend all kinds of time figuring out how to dial in so that you can take it and feel better without any actual interaction or like, feel, touching, hands-on kind of thing. I've been working with this physical therapist. I broke my elbow last year riding a one wheel. Don't do it. And they told me that my elbow would only, if you're watching, my elbow would only go to here. That's where it was when I stopped with this other physical therapist. They were like, that's as far as it's going to go, kid. Forget about it. And I was like, no, you don't know me. You don't know me. And also, I believe in my power to heal myself. And so, I kept working. I found this great chiropractor to work with. I started inventing ways of straightening it on my own. Then I went to this amazing physical therapist, this guy, Steve, from Evolution Fitness here in Grass Valley, who is not afraid and will put all of the weight on my elbow to get the scar tissue that's in my olecranon to heal. It's very painful when he does it, but he knows, he trusts, and he's hands-on the entire time. He's not telling me exercises to do. He's actually doing the healing work, and now I'm 3 degrees from straight, whereas I was like 25 degrees from straight when I stopped with the other people. Yeah, big thanks. But I also use that as an example of like, number one, don't listen to other people when they tell you how much you're able to heal of yourself. You can go way beyond that. And also, number two, like, if you're healing somebody, like really step into the role. And then really ultimately, number three is like, I'm the only person that can heal myself. And if I embrace that as a truth for myself, then that opens up worlds of possibilities for me to have a more fulfilling life and to be of service to others.
Yes. I feel the same way.
Mm-hmm.
But not only we're the ones that can heal ourselves, but we are the only ones that can set ourselves free.
Yeah. Yeah. Say a little bit more about that.
You don't ask the slaveholder for the key to your chains. You rip them off with your damn teeth.
Mm-hmm.
We're always looking for something else or pointing the finger at somebody else, or it's your responsibility to. No. It's our responsibility to take back whatever freedom that we felt has been lost, taken, or forgotten. It's ours to take back. It's
Mm-hmm.
ours to hold with integrity. It's ours to move forward. It's ours to live. That's what I mean.
Yeah. Yeah, that's good. I don't think we think of it that way. I'm just looking in myself, right, for where it is that I feel constrained and not free, and also in places in myself where I felt constrained in the past that I did break through those chains. And what I notice is that there's kind of a general malaise about today and all the distractions that exist and all the different medications and, not only like alcohol and substances that can change our perspective, that used in the right way could be beneficial, but are very much abused, but also just in terms of like the entertainment and the constant pull on all of our senses and our attention, getting likes on Instagram and inflating our ego and that need for validation to a level that it was never meant to be at. So then you see all these, the youth kids just freaking out over huge anxiety, and also myself. Like there's no pull for me to look at my own anxiety and my own lack of freedom and confront it head on and deal with it head on for myself. There's not that level of like personal responsibility and integrity that's like encouraged from a cultural level. Do you know what I mean? I would give, my left pinky, all right? Just my left pinky. If there was a class in school called personal integrity, and maybe another one called like how to love your life, how to love life, and then maybe a self-defense class. I don't know. Like those kind of things ought to be things that we are teaching and exploring, because those are what make us who we are and allow us to live the most full lives that we can. I get really frustrated about that. Why are we not like that? And then oh, well, maybe it's because people are controlling us and they want us to be afraid because we're more easily controlled. And I don't know who they are. And if they actually exist, it's just what sells, you know?
The boogeyman, they.
Yeah, the boogeyman, they. Let's blame them again.
So you know what that means? If there's any of this thought whatsoever, we're still assuming the position as the victim.
Exactly.
People will talk about this, but their whole life is going back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. No, I want to be free. No, I want to be a slave. No, I want to be free. No, I want to be a slave in victimhood. No, I want to be free. Mm-hmm. No, I don't. It's too scary to be free. Well,
yeah.
The thing is you get to choose.
Yeah.
You get to choose. Because the thing is, when you rip those teeth, when you bite the chain off with your teeth, there's something that comes with that too. You have to earn it.
Mm-hmm.
And what people feel is freedom isn't.
Mm-hmm.
Most of the time, people still want to be comfortable.
Yeah.
True freedom, living it, breathing it, feeling it, expressing it, is the scariest thing for people. It's not death.
Mm-hmm.
Time and time again, thousands and thousands of people that I've worked with, and just from data alone, not my opinion or perspective, it's just data collecting. Everyone thinks death is the biggest fear, where when you strip it all down layer after layer after layer, every single time, it's living pure freedom.
Mm-hmm.
It's the scariest thing.
Yeah. That's often quoted. And accurate. People are more afraid of public speaking than they are of death. But really, in line with what you're saying, people are afraid of true freedom more than they are of death.
Of course. It's not safe.
It's not safe. And it's not comfortable.
It's not, and it's not supposed to be. That's what's so special about freedom.
Mm-hmm.
It should force us to unite.
Yeah.
In so many different ways.
Mm-hmm.
And we're in the middle of a very big, powerful, sensational, emotional roller coaster of a worldwide ceremony. And I'm here for it.
Yeah. Me too. Let's go. Rise up. Wake up.
We know what happens in ceremony, brother.
Yeah.
People go through a space of confusion. It's only going to amplify what's already there. It's already doing it in the world in so many different ways. Everything is coming up as it should, and everyone's still doing this whole thing. This is what it is. This is what's doing it. This is what's doing it. That decision is now this and this and this and this. Again, I'm the victim. I'm the victim of the victim. But I want to be free.
Yeah.
No, you still aren't ready.
Yeah.
And so my belief is God's going to give you everything you need to make it just in the perfect time, even though it may feel expedited for some. And in that, I also believe that we chose it. And we've chosen everything. And when we take accountability and responsibility for that and say, thank you, Spirit.
Thank you, Spirit.
Thank you, whatever we want to call the thing that people say cannot be called. Call it whatever the fuck you want. Just say thank you. Fucking thank you. I'm ready.
Yeah. Just say thank you.
Just say damn thank you.
Yeah.
And let's go.
Mm-hmm.
Let's get it.
Yeah.
And those are spaces that I do well in, the non-bullshit space, the space that isn't conducive for lying and deceit and not showing up fully. No, the spaces that I'm in, it is not that type of, I'm just going to willy-nilly get by and not actually take accountability. I do not create spaces that are conducive for that. You cannot hide in the spaces that are filled with love, that are being co-stewarded.
Yeah.
It's just is what it is. It's designed like that. It's formulated like that, from much more than just people coming together with a few tools. So I'm learning all along the same way, and I'm in those initiations all along the same way. Mm-hmm. Some people go through a few initiations in life. I'm in all of these initiations, and since I was a very little boy, have been forced into many initiations and then put myself into them because I was already hooked. Mm-hmm. Some of those were not healthy initiations. However, they had to have been perfect, because it's helped me get to where I am right now.
To who you are. Yeah.
I have to believe that. So, and similarly in life with other people, and, we all have a story, but like instead of being involved in all the circles where, oh, this happened and I hurt so bad, and it's okay, good. We're still in a very deep healing space. We got space for that. We understand the ways again. We've come back to Mama Earth. We've come back to the plants. We've come back to the animals. And I'm also in a space where I don't have anything inside of me anymore that thinks it's fun to be able to try to help the entire world. It's the most honorable burden I could ever imagine in my life. And the reason why it's the honorable burden is because this is, for me, once I was able to feel the most special thing I could have never imagined feeling, which is the purest love and forgiveness. There's no way I would do anything other than being of assistance to my family. And sometimes my family needs to go through initiation, and I'll be there for that. Sometimes my family gets to have help in business and different ventures and projects, and I'll be involved in that and help with that, support with that. Sometimes in communities, there are things that are happening that are out of alignment, and I'm seen as an elder in the space to be able to come back to right relations and to sift through some of the layers that others are they're a little too emotional about. I can show up in many different ways. Initiations is only one of those. But to live the prayer in all the spaces is, for me, where it's most juicy in life. And that's why I'm not just a men's whatever. I'm a brother.
Leader.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's hard to categorize you, Bearheart. You know what I mean? You're a lot of things. All right.
I'm a brother.
Yeah.
That's easy. It's easy. I'm just a brother.
Okay.
Yeah.
Brother Bearheart.
Yeah.
That's good. I like that.
Hey.
Yeah, you touched on so many things there that so many positive reflections. One, like this life that you lead where you're creating realms of accountability, zones of accountability where people are fully accountable for their own everything. And there's initiations that you're also participating in. Like it's a very rarefied world. You live a very unique life. And that's beautiful. And I also I wish that it is not rarefied anymore, that it becomes commonplace in our culture. I wish that we really start seeing that we really are, each of us, we really are the gatekeeper to our own freedom, and that freedom is a birthright of each and every one of us, and that we can give it to ourselves, and that we create more environments where people are totally holding you to account. I mean, the victim thing that you mentioned, we talk about that on this program a lot, and I think about it all the time because it's so hard to escape that trap. It's so challenging. There's always another thing coming. Oh, well, she said this, or he did this, or I didn't get, this didn't happen. And
but they're supposed to.
They are.
They're supposed to be happening because it's not in full trust.
Right. And there's also a level of, I think, vigilance that needs to happen with anybody who's trying to escape the victim trap, of where you're constantly looking at, wait, where am I? Am I being a victim now? Oh God, there it is. And also being forgiving of that. You touched on that you never ever thought you'd ever be able to feel that love and that forgiveness, that is source or creator or whatever you want to call it. And that's real. That exists, that is real, that is in every religion and every tradition, every spiritual tradition and every non-religion tradition and indigenous tradition. There is that total forgiveness, total acceptance for who you are. These are the lessons that you were led here to live. These are the choices that you made to get you to a place where you have a certain level of understanding and a certain level of strength in your own life to be able to do what you were called here to do. And I think, earlier we were talking about, well, it's not, the initiations are not, oh, you got to go get a job, or you got to graduate high school and you got to do the things, or that's like so much of the matrix or the machine, just like trying to fit in and be the cog in the wheel so that you can get yours and survive, in some way that is somewhat attractive to you, even though it's very often it's not attractive. It's working at the dump. There is such a deeper calling for each of us to really look within, like what is it that I really truly want in my life, and then be able to go after that and have the courage to do that. And for me, it's like I'm in a deep process of reflection right now. I'm working with this book, King, Warrior, Magician, Lover, and just looking at where it is that I'm in shadow, where it is that I'm not fully taking responsibility for my own life, not stepping up, not taking the risks that I know that I needed to take. Why, and it's both challenging and liberating. It's challenging because it forces me to look at the yucky stuff where I'm, being a little squirrely fucker. I mean, I'm calling myself a fucker. All right. I'm allowed to call myself a fucker. You know what? You can call me a fucker too if you want. I don't give a shit. It's fine. Go for it. But where I'm being squirrely and just like not taking responsibility in my life and my marriage, et cetera. Like that's a constant working with a partner. It's like, there's a constant, we just keep going through. Oh, wait, I see how I was being there. I didn't realize it at the time. I was triggered. The triggers are getting less, like we're getting better at things where there's more harmony. But I think that's the hallmark of a healthy relationship, is like looking at it and seeing where I could take responsibility. And so, that's something that's super valuable, especially knowing that I am totally responsible for my own freedom and what it is that I achieve in this life, in this world. It's something to say that and declare it like, hey, here's the red pill, but it tastes like shit. I mean, it's really,
that's the truth.
Yeah, it's really not tasty. And I want to spit it out half the time. And, you can't. I mean,
similar to all the best medicines in the world, they all taste like shit.
Yeah.
If they didn't, everyone would try it. Everyone would I believe that there's a defense mechanism there. Mm-hmm. Some of the most important things that we can learn from in the world. It's an initiation even to work with it.
Yeah. Now I'm thinking about that movie, The Matrix. It's a very normal response to want to take the blue pill again, to go back into the Matrix after you've experienced it. It's one of the reasons that makes that film so epic, is like, he takes the pill and then he's in this world they're just eating slop and, trying to fend off all these alien invaders that are trying to kill them all the time. There is some real truth in that, in terms of like our waking up process and looking at all of the strings that were attaching us. We could get a glimpse of freedom. We take the red pill, and then all of a sudden we're like, wow, this is amazing. We see the love. And then all of a sudden, all the things come crashing back, gripping us, ripping at us, trying to pull us back into their clutches. The fear-based operating system, it just wants more, and it'll never be satisfied or satiated. And so then we have to keep standing up and rising up and being bigger than we thought that we could be. It's a never-ending Sisyphus push up the mountain kind of a thing, So thanks.
It is. And it's blatantly obvious. It's been our choice too.
Right.
Because what is happening is because we, the numbers, mm-hmm. have allowed it, and we haven't understood how to be able to help our own better.
Mm-hmm. How to help our own better.
Mm-hmm.
How to help? Oh, you mean help our own people better? Is that what you mean?
Yourself, your own, your country, your town, your school, your work, our people, our culture. Because now the world we're a worldwide culture. Yeah, there's many cultures that are now completely weaved in. The world will never be the same because there's been so much travel and there's been so much intermixing.
Yeah.
Which is a beautiful thing. Absolutely most beautiful thing, which you would have only hoped that we would unite even faster. But we've allowed it. We've allowed what has taken place, the powers that be, and all the manipulation and all the distractions. And it's like it's written on the walls. I think one of the best and most easiest ways that I've known over all the years, or I've been able to see who's coming together truly in communities, as soon as they throw the TV away or sell it, make a little bit of money back on it, as soon as the television is out of the house, and that's no longer a way to steal our vital life force energy, and we start putting that more into other humans and ourselves, things will naturally change. And it has been, all of this is designed for many reasons, and the ways that we come out of it is, take our freedom back, take our attention back, where do we want our attention to be. This is the highest commodity, other than sexual slavery, is our attention. Well, what are we going to choose to do with it? We're adults, man. We get to start acting like it. And that really comes together, going back to initiations. When you've gone through some really difficult stuff and you put yourself in front of that difficult stuff to make sure that your life was going to be different, and not just for yourself, but for your children and the next 3 generations, the elders, getting back. We spoke before this turned on about codes. Like, you want to talk about getting back to codes.
Yeah, living by a code.
People need to get away from the television because they're being coded. We get to establish a new code, which is an old ancient code. That ancient code is universal around the entire world that we get back to, and that is the safety of the women and children and innocence. It just is what it is. Every other conversation is a non-conversation if we can't keep the kids safe, and if we're living in societies that still utilize their strength and power against women. Simple, straight, got nothing else to say about nothing unless we're in a commonality of understanding what the roots are within our society, and that blends across all cultural barriers. So as we initiate and as we confuse the children less, you will have less confused adults that are willing to hurt the children, and more evolved work that will be happening when we're not being coded from the televisions and from all the social media, giving all of our attention away. There's no they, in my opinion. It's all us. You decide what you eat. You decide what you watch. You decide who you lay with and sleep with and keep in your circles. Everything we decide. No matter who wants to say that, well, there's only so many options. I only have fast food around me. Save your money. Fast. You'll be in better shape. You'll be much more healthy. And it's actually a very much of a process where one can be in deep prayer. It's understanding how to be in right relation and reevaluating the relations that we have, i.e. everything that I just mentioned. Simple, easy.
Yeah.
And I truly believe that when we have freed ourselves, that will just be obvious. And what I personally know is La Fuerza Sagrada, the sacred force. That naturally will start to feed us. That naturally will warm us. It will naturally burn away anything that's not supposed to be. It will naturally give us the power and the energy, and utilizing every part of our experience in life to be able to see how it's been a blessing, and to be able to see the lessons within it, and then to be able to move that forward as we continue to come together. But for me, it's all very simple and very easy. It is what it is. Some people aren't serious about moving forward in life, and some people are very serious.
Yeah.
And so it just is what it is. No harm, no foul. people will continue to evolve because life is continuing to evolve. And where we end up, I have no idea. But whoever I'm going to have an influence with and whoever I'm going to be associating with and having my family around, the entire prayer is to make sure that there's a beautiful unity that happens, not from a naivete, but from really putting love forward and being able to have all the conversations that are necessary when we start to remember what being tribe is all about.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. We talk a lot. I talk a lot about in this program about the importance of having a love operating system. We really have inherited this fear-based operating system. You talk about codes and watching television and social media. And I think about people that I love so much that just watch the news for hours on end. And it's like, God almighty. First of all, it's one perspective. Okay. Second of all, it's all fear-based. It's just fear-based. They figured out a way to 24 hours a day feed you fear on CNN. And then every once in a while they're like, oh, and then the fireman saved a cat, but it's all in the light of, that somebody got murdered in Manhattan. And so you sitting in your beautiful home in Grass Valley are probably going to get murdered too, when there's no fucking way.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's feed you cortisol,
Right.
little dopamine.
Right.
Cortisol, little dopamine.
Yeah, that's right.
Mm-hmm.
That's right. And it's cells. And also you're right. It's not, there is no them, there is only us. And the importance of living a love operating system, people, maybe it's more challenging for me to convey it in my own mind, because I just hear my inner critic being like, oh, love operating. There he goes again, talking about the love operating system. Here we go, but it's so critical to actually look at my life and think, how is it that I love more? How do I be more loving in my communication? How do I inject more love into, for me, my art, my music, my comedy, film stuff? How do I inject more love into my relationship with my wife? How do I inject more love into my land, the place that I live? How do I live from love more and also give and receive love more? And asking that question constantly in the background. And when it fades, ask it again, but that's not what we're being fed, as you point out, and right.
It's not what we're eating.
It's not what we're eating. That's right. It's not what we're eating. We're eating a bunch of fear. And fear sells. You can't blame fear, and you can't blame whoever they are. We're part of it. We're eating it. If we were to stop eating it, they would stop selling it. If we were to start eating the love operating system, that's what people would feed you. And I don't mean like some weird Disney movie. I mean like really the hard love, the real truthful love, the real taking responsibility for your own mess love, the uncomfortable love. So many of like the programs that we have been living. So you think about it. Okay, well, here we are in 2024, thousands of years of programming. Are there other tribal societies that were living in harmony? I believe so. But still, there has been programming. There's been the empire program for thousands of years, if not forever. That's all very much fear-based. So we have all of these, we're sharing all this information. We're totally intertwined, as you say, which is so beautiful. But at the same time, all of the programs that have been negatively influencing us for so long have also been spread unconsciously, maybe consciously, but like they're just getting spread because that's the norm. The norm is blame other people for your problems. The norm is be a victim. The norm is be in that triangle, the hero, victim, rescuer triangle. That's the norm, even though it's not who we are. Like, having had some very, very deep spiritual experiences where I felt connected to God or Creator in a very deep way, that experience is beyond that victim triangle. And also, having been in those spaces for myself, I feel like, oh, okay, I'm just remembering my natural state of who I was to begin with. La Forza Sagrada, the love.
Mm-hmm.
And also, if we come to this life forgetting who we were, so that we can learn lessons to show us who we are, so that we can strengthen ourselves, then the forgetting itself and the process of remembering is ultimately really all about just me taking responsibility for my own life wholeheartedly and not looking elsewhere for a solution.
Boom. Think about that.
Yeah.
How easy that could be.
Uh-huh.
But how the mind says, no, that's going to be difficult. That's too difficult to actually do that and to fully implement it.
Yeah. It was really hard for me to even say it.
Mm-hmm.
I was battling to even say what I said.
And that's how much programming has taken place.
Yeah.
There's always been some kind of programming in all of history.
Mm-hmm.
Whoever wins the wars gets to be in charge of most of it.
Right.
But it spans everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
What are we going to choose? What kind of programming are we going to choose? It's inevitable. It's going to happen.
Yeah.
There's part of us that's like robot, and there's part of us that's like animal. There's part of us that's, well, it all gets to be programmed. We get to figure out how to be with each other. And what do we choose? What do we choose to program our children with? Right now, there's a huge difference in how big countries are raising their children. Some are raising them in ways that are preparing them for war and really, truly training them to be soldiers, child soldiers. Some are purposely holding back initiations to be able to create a strong sense of maturity within children. Some are just creating so much confusion that, as we see, the kids don't know who they are, what they are, where they are, why they are, mm-hmm. at very, very early ages.
Yeah.
And it's just different ways to program. Some are training the children to be in the bush and to be in nature ways and to be learning from that. And there's always going to be somebody's opinion of what's better and what's this and that. And for me, I don't have any type of the better or good or bad. It's, well, what do we choose?
Yeah.
And that's it. The people that I have found to be trustworthy and the ones that we are people of service and people of prayer. Well, what do we choose? Because that's what they choose.
Right.
And that's fine. My objective and strategy in life is not going to be to try to change an already completely fucked system.
Right.
I won't have any part of that. That's not where my energy is useful, effective, or efficient. And so I will not be part of that. However, what I have been part of for a very, very long time is something completely different. And that's what I will continue to choose. And with that honest reflection of what others are ready for, what they're willing, how they want to contribute all of their life to a new way. Just, what do we choose?
Yeah.
And then fucking choose it.
Mm-hmm.
It's the back and forth, this and that. Again, that's because we haven't chosen full freedom. Most of the time, that's because we aren't speaking full truth. In speaking about these things that are happening in the world that are very charged in many different ways, I choose not to see it through an emotional lens, because it really is just systematic of what happens and why it happens. Similarly with animals. Mm-hmm. So if we see this happening and we are a freeman and we choose love, then that means that whoever we think they is over there, that's our family. Uh-huh. Hey, brother and sister and auntie, uncle and cousin, right? What's up, deal?
Stop being a dick.
Hey, well, I would typically, if we have quarrels, we say, nope, you're over there, I'm over here. Mm-hmm. But then again, this is my family.
Right.
So for me, what the choice is to say, if you're my family, and I know that there's confusion, instead of continuing to allow confusion like cancer to keep growing stronger and stronger and more confusing and more confusing and more struggle, let's get a little bit closer. Mm-hmm. So what are we really talking about? What are the choices that are really happening? And when we have enough numbers, simply just to get closer and say, okay, now we got the light on this. Whether that's the fishing industry, whether that's the Hollywood, whether that's like any sector we want. If we're working together and if we're willing to ask really good questions and bring a lot of presence there, a lot of healing there, things will change.
Mm-hmm.
That takes a group of free people, not slaves who are trying to be free.
Yeah.
Totally different. If we are slaves trying to be free, which the vast majority of the world is, we are continuing to try to say, Massa, can you please take these chains off?
Mm-hmm. Right.
No. We're going in the wrong trajectory. Mm-hmm. There is no asking.
Yeah.
And if there is a lot of anger there, it means that we need to have more healing.
Mm-hmm.
And then the unity will happen. And that's just, again, through data, not through my fucking opinions. I really, like, for me, people will always say, it's like, Bear, your mission. It's like, this ain't my fucking mission. Mm-hmm. I don't feel unsafe in the world. I feel completely safe no matter what street you can put me on or whatever bush in the world you can put me in. Mm-hmm. I could take care of mine in every way, shape, and form. I could take care of mine. This is not my dream. This is the mission of what gets to happen if we're going to evolve. And I am just playing my own simple parts in it. Mm-hmm. But no, man, there's a lot of confused souls that are doing the best that they can and sometimes need a little bit more guidance. And I have been that soul. And I'm happy that I was able to have guidance from people that called me in as family instead of seeing me as an enemy because of some things that I've done in the past. And I know that if there's ever something that comes up in me where I say, I don't know about them, or I don't know about this, there's been enough of those in life where you can't fight them all and you don't necessarily want to join them. But what about getting close to have a really good conversation where there's a lot of true, genuine care? Mm-hmm. Care there.
Yeah.
And if it is your cousin, you say, cuz, I'm feeling really lit up about something. This seems very interesting, and I would like to get to know you more to understand where this is coming from and how. And this could be cross-culturally, cross-lingual, cross-religion, cross everything. Where are those good questions?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Instead of I'm a victim, so I'm going to point the finger at you.
Right.
Again, we're going back into the victim, and they don't even know it. Mm-hmm. That's why becoming free and setting ourselves free is so important.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. One of the things that came up for me is that you've chosen to live outside of the norm for so long in communities that are working towards being authentic, are working towards being prayerful, or are prayerful, that you've lived in that society, and that's the family and society that you've chose inside of this larger society that we live in. And now you reap the rewards and also like spread the love of being in more communion with nature, with each other, being more accepting and compassionate as a choice, living from freedom. And I know that this is your prayer, your life is your prayer. And having spent time with you and also spent time with myself, I know that prayer is like pretty much the most important thing that I can do in terms of like liberating myself from my own fears and really like rising up to the king that I am for myself. Prayer is like absolutely vital. And, I think it's important to talk about it because prayer has like lost its vigor for so many people, and it's been perverted over time and or subjugated because it's not in service of fear, and so therefore it doesn't fit the programming. But personal prayer and having a personal prayer practice, like, we meditated before we started the show. And as I stated to you, I really needed to do that. I was like, I really need to sit and pray before we start because I won't be able to be in the space that I need to be in order to have the conversation that we're going to have unless I pray first. Because I do feel like, a lot of times we are beset on all sides, that there are either distractions or energies or forces or whatever, our own mind, our own crazy monkey mind that's trying to get in the way. And the only way for me to penetrate through that, to look back and see myself as the observer and be able to communicate something valuable is if I pray my prayer, not anyone else's prayer, not anybody. I don't care about any, and neither, I would say neither should anyone else care about anybody else's prayer. What is your prayer? How do I come into communion more with my world. In the morning, what do I do? What's the first thing I do? You know, like for me, it's I go outside, I put my feet in the earth, I play with my cat if he's around. You know, I'll do like a bowing routine, like a stretching routine. I'll sit on the cushion and meditate. And when I'm in that practice, doing that practice, I'm much more alive, happier, more fulfilled, more on target and on task, more in my love operating system rather than the fear operating system. And I know for you that's super important. So much of the work for you is around prayer, helping people cultivate their own prayer practice, and for you, your own prayer practice. So I just wanted to, see if there's anything you wanted to say about that.
Yes, that's correct.
Great. End of show.
Prayer has been an important aspect of my life, and it has looked quite differently in many chapters of my life. At one point in time, prayer was surfing. At one point in time, prayer was fighting. At one point in time, prayer was plants. At one point in time, prayer was Yeshua. It's happened in many ways.
Mm-hmm.
What I've learned is that some people go into prayer and then come out of prayer.
Mm-hmm.
For me to be an active and productive part of this society, I've learned that the only way that can happen is if I'm constantly in prayer.
Mm-hmm.
And so I've learned to live a life and set a life up where my entire existence is in some kind of prayer. So that's very true.
Mm-hmm.
And it's still and in so many different ways, in so many different languages.
Mm-hmm.
I love going and praying with all of the cultures, in the dirt, and at the mezcales, in all of the temples, really appreciating how what I feel God is expressing through all of his children. I love to be with my brothers and sisters and find out how God is talking to them,
mm-hmm.
in which dialects he's speaking to them,
mm-hmm.
in which, and this is, I'm speaking of God, but this is also very much all inclusive of Mama Gaia, and to me that's all God. And there's nothing more special than to help people come to a deeper strength of their love for God, their devotion to their religion, their whatever it is. Mm-hmm. My only hope with the brothers and sisters, because again, it's not just like brothers and sisters and medicine ceremonies, or I get to have a worldwide family where it crosses everything, and in that being able to see the beauty of God in all of them.
Mm-hmm.
And so when I speak of prayer, that comes in many ways, in many languages, and with many flavors.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel truly that they're all beautiful when we hold a line of love, freedom, safety, and truth in all the languages, when that's embodied and people are embodying God or the positive life force, their higher self. And that's a true embodiment. It don't matter what you call yourself. Mm-hmm. You're a child of God. And God will naturally work through us in a very, very healthy way that we instinctively know is true. And that's not to kill each other off.
Right.
It's not. It's just not. It's to be part of this very complex, intricate experience. And in my mind, it's like I see a beautiful canvas, a nice big canvas, and all the colors are there. And it's like the opportunity to utilize all of these colors with all the creativity possible. All of us coming together in one unified, huge canvas.
Mm-hmm.
That's the beauty that I want to contribute to.
Yeah.
And I've learned that when there is prayer around, people tend to be much more creative with their time.
Mm-hmm.
And that's important to me.
Yeah, absolutely. And that seems like the perfect place to end part 1 of this 2-part episode with my dear brother Bearheart. Tune in next week for the conclusion. See you then. Much love.